Hey folks, it's Deacon Nick, and what I wanted to talk about today is teaching your kids about the faith fun, right? Um, and I know that when I was a kid, we had fun at school, we did crafts and stuff like that, but I think in our home, it was more of an obligation for us to learn about God and go to church, and I went to a Catholic school. I think it was more of an obligation. And I have to say I've learned something from my oldest daughter, and they go out of their, I won't say out of their way, but they just make learning about God so fun in their household. And I learn things from them all the time. And yesterday was Divine Mercy Sunday. And Divine Mercy Sunday is when it's when we just basically take a day to give thanks to God for His unbelievable mercy and grace and all the gifts He gives us that none of us deserve, right? But Divine Mercy Sunday came up in the Catholic Church when, I think it was the year 2000, Saint Pope John Paul II, that's a mouthful, but Saint Pope John Paul II declared this day every year, well, it's yesterday now, is Divine Mercy Sunday. And he did it on the day that he canonized Saint Faustina. And Saint Faustina, back around, I think it was 1930 or 31, Christ appeared to her and gave her revelations. And he had her actually have a picture drawn of it that he described. And something that she said is like, how can the artist, I think, said to her, because they found an artist to paint this picture of Christ the way he wanted it painted. And the artist said, how can I possibly paint something that is just it's more beautiful than I could possibly even imagine. How can I paint it, or something like that? But anyway, I'm rambling. So yesterday, you should Google it, learn about what Christ told to Saint Faustina and stuff. But yesterday, for Divine Mercy Sunday, my daughter, and I'll probably screw it up switching this over here, but the screen there, and I'll try to make it a little bit bigger. My daughter, for Divine Mercy Sunday, they made Divine Mercy Sundays, and the image that Christ had depicted of himself shows the colors coming out of his heart, like in the little Jesus next to the Sunday there. And so if you see what they did with the Sunday, and this is not the exact same picture that my daughter sent me of hers. I'll show you the website this picture's from in a minute, but so they made the Sunday to look just like Divine Mercy Sunday. So, I mean, what a wonderful way to get your kids involved in a fun way. I mean, I wish I would have been there. I love ice cream, but what kid doesn't love ice cream, right? So, like, what a beautiful way to teach your kids about Christ while they're doing something that they absolutely love. And I keep this picture on my wall. Let me swap back here. Chatting. This is the picture that the Sunday is derived from. And the colors coming from Christ's heart. I won't say obviously, but they signify the blood and water that poured from his heart after he died on the cross and we pierced him, right? So, so I just thought that was a wonderful way to get your kids involved and start teaching your kids about God. So I thought I'd make a quick video and just share with you guys some other ways to do it. So I think one of the most important ways, kids, you hear the saying, don't do what I say, do what I do. Well, kids are watching us all the time, right? And I think the most important way to bring your kids up in the church is just to set the right example. And I know that's kind of common sense, right? But so often we don't set the right example for our kids. And I think one of the ways to do that is just to make it a habit between you and your spouse to talk about God. or with your kids, talk about God, or just bring Christ up, bring the saints up, bring your faith up, bring the Bible up. Just make it habit in your family to be talking about Jesus Christ and to talk about God and talk about faith and the wonderful things that God gives us. And I think one of the coolest ways to do that is by kind of using nature, right? Maybe put a bird feeder in your yard or go on nature walks and just talk about how beautiful the sky is today. Look at the beautiful blues that God's given us. Or put a bird feeder in your yard, and as the birds come and the squirrels come to try to steal the seeds, talk about the beautiful animals and the beautiful birds and just how beautiful it is outside and the sun and the moon. And I think nature gives us a great, I don't want to say excuse, but what's a better word, segue, to talk to our kids about our faith and to talk to our kids about Christ. And of course, prayer. And strangely enough, as a deacon now, in my family, we prayed with the kids at night. We say prayer. We said, it's kind of past tense. My kids are all married now, right? But we didn't really, my wife probably did more personal prayer with my daughters, but we did pray at night with them. But even like now, my wife and I, we're both so involved in the church, we don't typically pray together. And, you have to do you, whatever's comfortable in your house. But get your kids in the habit of praying. Let your kids know it's okay to pray, and I remember as a kid, I don't even know why, and maybe some people still do this. Nowadays with the internet, it's almost like anything's fair game, right? But I remember we were told, well, the three things you don't talk about in public is religion, politics, and sex. And now, politics is okay to talk about. It's all over the internet. It's, sex is okay to talk about. It's all over. I think it's time we make religion okay to talk about as well, right? So, but pray in your house. Pray with your kids. Let them know prayer is okay. Let them, know that it's okay to talk about God in your house. Make it fun. Make learning about God fun. I think it's important to have a picture Bible, kids' Bible, sitting somewhere in your house. And remember that it's there. Maybe use it as a teaching moment. Now, I know some of us are a lot more familiar with the Bible than others, right? But it's not a bad thing maybe to plan something ahead where it'll give you an excuse to open your Bible and read something to your kids or share something about Christ with your kids. Have religious toys. One of the toys, and we got a whole toy box here for our grandkids. We have 8 grandkids now, and God is, we had 3 in the last year. So anyway, we have this whole big toy box here that the kids dive into when they come over. And one of the toys that gets played, it's not like the favorite, because there is no favorite, right? It depends who's here. But one of the things that gets played with so much is we have this Noah's Ark. Yeah, it's a Noah's Ark set, and it's got, no, it's not Noah's Ark. It's Jesus when he walked on water. So it's a boat, and it's got a little plastic Jesus, and it's got the 12 apostles. And the kids play with it. They take it out. They put and without us saying a word, they put Jesus at the front and they put all the apostles at the back. And they play with this, right? But it makes a great teaching moment. Now, if you go to my daughter's house, there's all kinds, like for Christmas, and they get religious toys, and the kids are so conscious of their faith, and there's really no, you hear the thing, and I hear it more and more, and it's sad that, well, I'm going to wait till my kids are old enough to make a decision, and then I'll let them to decide if they want to learn about God, and if they want to go to church, and if they want to be in the faith. I say hogwash, right? Bullocks, BS, Boulder Dash, Would you let them wait till they're 18 to start learning science and math? Because if you make it part of your life, they'll make it part of their lives, right? They can wait till they're 18 to decide if they're going to vote Democrat or Republican, but don't put that burden on your kid's shoulder. Even if you're not, and I struggled for a long time. I've always believed there's a God, but I've never understood it, so that always upset me. And for a long time, it made me back away. And your kids will believe whatever you tell them is true. And then when they're old enough, let them do their own research. But get them on the right path. And that's another video. So anyway, take your kids to church. And even if you don't have kids, you should be going to church. If you're married, at least. Well, even if you're not married, you should be going to church, right? But here's what I mean. When we first got married, I wouldn't go to church, right? As a matter of fact, and I'm a deacon now, right? But as a matter of fact, when I proposed to my wife, she said yes, but, and that's not something you want to hear when you're proposing, right? But yes, but you have to agree that once we have kids, we'll go to church as a family. So even when we were dating, my wife went to church, and then after we were first married, my wife would get up and go to church every Sunday. So you want to come to Mass, and you go to Mass. But she made it very clear to me. She reminded me very sternly, I hadn't forgotten, but when we had our first baby, 30 something years ago, we started going to church as a family, right? And I can't tell you how many times, Donna and I were arguing about something. And if you're married, those days when you're driving in the car with the kids and you'll talk to the kids, but you won't make eye contact with your spouse because you're fighting about something. And it's like, tell your father she just went through a stop sign, or tell your mother she just went through a stop sign, because you don't want to talk to your spouse, right? Well, we'd be fighting about something, probably something stupid that Deacon Dum Dum did, but by 10 minutes into the Mass, we'd start looking at each other again, and then by the sign of the sign of peace, we give each other a kiss, and afterwards it'll be like we weren't even fighting. And I know it sounds weird, but I'm challenging you. If you and your spouse or your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, if you're not married, if you're fighting, go to church. I know it doesn't make sense, but go to church. Spend an hour at church. You'll come out. You'll feel wonderful. You won't be fighting anymore. Try it. But take your kids with you. That's the whole point. And don't wait till they're older. You should be bringing your kids to church when they're tiny. A lot of times people will say, well, I don't want my kids to make noise in the pew. I guarantee you, there's always that one grumpy one, right? But 99% of the people at church are more happy to see kids in church at all than they are to maybe have to listen to the kids cry every now and then or whatever. It's a beautiful thing to have kids at church, so take your kids to church. Also, if you care about your marriage, take your kids to church. And again, this is a different video, but I'm going to go there. And I don't have the statistics right here, but statistics show that I think it's 3 to 4 times. If you go to church every Sunday with your spouse, your marriage is 3 to 4 times more likely to last your lifetime. You'll still be married when you're old, and so if you don't go to church, you're 4 times more likely. I'm sure it might even be more, but you're more likely to be divorced just for that 1 hour a week. So if you care about your wedding, you care about your family, you care about your kids having 2 parents in their home, I'm telling you, go to church. And I'm not making this up. Google it. Check it out. Teach your kids to apologize. God will forgive us for anything if we're sorry. And you teach your kids to apologize by you apologizing to them. Honey, sometimes mommies and daddies make mistakes too. I'm sorry. and you'll be amazed the difference it'll make in your kids' lives. And it's also a teaching moment, right? You could talk them, Jesus said you should apologize not 7 times, but 7 times 70 times, or 7 times 700 times, or something like that. Google it. But use it as a teaching moment to talk about God in your life. And you know what else is good? When you're looking for things to do with your kids, especially with Corona now, and not, you're not able to do a lot of the other things that you would normally do with your kids. There's not as many play dates and stuff like that. Do crafts with your kids. And this, I tell you, my daughter's the master of it. I should have her make a video instead of me. But every holiday and even in between, they're doing different things with their kids. And I have a few websites. Hold on a second here. Ba-boom, ba-boom. Oops, that's the wrong place I wanted to go. Here's one. Bible activities for kids. This is at thereligionteacher.com. And there's all kinds of stuff here, right? Crafts and things like that. So I'm giving a plug. This is a good site. Here's another one, Child Fun. I mean, just Google it. Google, crafts Bible crafts for kids, whatever. But here's another one, childfun.com. And there's Christian arts and crafts. God, maybe I'm special. And here's one, the Catholic icing. This is the one where that picture came from. I'm pretty sure that I showed you before. But my daughter told me about this one, and there's so many cool things, and some of these things are so easy to do and so cool to do. This one I kind of like. It's oh look, there's the each of the 4 gospel writers. It's an angel, a lion, an eagle, and a bull, a ram. I think Luke's the bull, but I think this is so cool here. From a sandwich, you cut little circles and make a line. Anyway, CatholicIcing.com is another really cool site that you can go to. Tell them Deacon Nick sent you. But there's just so many fun things that you can do with your kids. And the most important thing is, I know I've had this conversation with parents, and there's a lot of parents who don't fully believe, right? But what if you're wrong? What if you're wrong? What if you don't believe in God? What if you don't believe in Christ? And most people that are going to be watching this are believers, right? But what if you're wrong? What if you don't teach your kids about God and they push God out of their lives, their whole lives? And then you find out a couple seconds after laying on your deathbed that you were wrong, that it's all real. And again, that's a whole other video. What did you do for your kids, right? So do it. Do it for your kids. Do it for your family. Your family will be happier in general. I guarantee you your marriage will be better. Your kids will grow up better. Just make it a point to not only to teach your kids about the faith, but make it fun. Make it fun. God is fun. I mean, when you think about the things God's given us, the sky, when you think about how a baby grows in a woman's womb, when you think about just God is good, right? So don't be afraid to share it with your kids. Don't be afraid to make it fun. And it'll help you so much too, right? And yeah, you're going to have to spend a little bit more time planning this stuff, but it's your kids, right? So that's it. That's my message for today. Deacon Nick, have a good one. See you next time. Bye.